In the last 60 days, eBay rolled out a price gouging policy change to the platform, and it's affected sellers like myself, and it may actually be affecting you too, and you might not realize it. If you received this email sometime over the last month or two regarding price policy gouging for any item across any category, we're not just talking diapers, toilet paper, tampons, wet wipes, sanitizers, face masks, face shields, not just talking those items. If you had a video game, a collectible, a trading card, a movie that got hit with the price gouging policy, guess what? Your account now has restrictions on it, and eBay is not going to tell you about it. I've dug deep, and I've got some answers for you today. Let's have a talk about price gouging. It goes without saying that I find the price gouging policy to be a bit ludicrous. Not for the simple fact that the free market can decide for itself what consumers are willing to pay for items, but for the simple fact that eBay is not the one who should be in charge of making this decision. When I pressed eBay for answers regarding why this was happening, I was told it was both a mixture of government regulation and them actually being contacted and told to start enforcing policy, as well as a bit of preventative measures to try and make sure that eBay is not cast under a poor light for having high prices on goods that consumers actually need. Now, I use these air quotes in a way so that people can better understand that some of the items we are talking about are very, very subjective. If you've been on the community boards with eBay recently, you've probably seen the story about the guy who was trying to sell a video game for $200 and got hit with the price gouging policy. Now, I myself have had issues with the price gouging policy across a myriad of items, everything from Ziploc storage bags to vintage sharpening steels, you name it, pretty much across the board. And just now I was working on a stuffed animal and I got a warning at the top of my screen telling me that I was violating eBay's price gouging policy and I wasn't even allowed to revise an item even with no changes being made to it. Now, I spoke with eBay concierge yesterday, and I'm fortunate to have access to concierge, so I'm able to get Americans on the phone right now. And I asked, not for the second time, but the third time, have any changes been made to my account that are restricting my ability to do my job right now? I am in the middle of an inventory audit attempting to add all the item specifics to become in compliance with eBay's new policy changes yet again. And I was told for the third time no changes have been made to my account and that I'm having issues with keywords. I said, what do you mean? And they said certain keywords in the title are going to trigger or flag our system. I said, could I have a list of those words? And they said things like mask, reusable, respirator, corona, COVID. Those are things that are going to trigger it. I was listing a eye mask that was part of a first class travel kit. And that eye mask had the word mask in it. I said, okay, sure, I'll give you the nod. That's an item that maybe could trip the system up. I said, well, what about my Chicago cutlery sharpening steel that I sold at auction? $20 opening bid. It's an item from 1985. Can you give me some color as to why this item is getting flagged? I even asked eBay for business. I said, please give me guidance. Here is the error code. Tell me what is going on. After having a volley of messages go back and forth, they simply dropped the issue and they're no longer responding to my messages. Now, like I said, I'm fortunate, so I picked up the phone and I called. And while I was speaking with a gentleman yesterday by the name of Patrick, not Patrick 2, which we're going to get to in a second, but Patrick 1, he told me that it may have just been a fluke. It may have just been something that happened because when I changed categories from collectible knives to standard woodworking knives, I was allowed to list the item. And I said, well, okay, if it's not an issue with keywords, but the category change allowed to go through, he's like, well, it's just a fluke. And I said, could you please just verify for me just one last time? Have any changes been made to my account to make this happen? Because if you remember that email, here, let's take a look at it right now. It says eBay does not allow pricing that is inflated above typical selling prices. Now, this is a new policy. Okay, now notice they are not saying specific types of items in this statement. Inflating the item price due to emergency demand or speculation may be in a violation of laws or regulations. Now, I don't know about you. I've got $40,000 worth of speculative buys on the other side of this closet, items that I believe are going to go up in value. Okay, am I allowed to play the speculative market still if I'm going to be an eBay seller? I need to know. You may relist this item if you price it closely to the manufacturer's suggested price or lower as a buy it now listing, not an auction. Why is this important? Well, I listed a construction mask, a NIOSH P100 filtration construction mask with an opening bid of $1. I said, how can I be responsible for price gouging if I'm listing an item for $1? How is this my fault if the free market's going to decide? And Patrick One told me, it's just if the price gets too high. I'm like, what is too high? What is the barrier? Is it 3 times retail, 4 times retail, 5 times retail? Because bags of Doritos are $13 a piece on eBay. Okay, we're 5 times retail, and that's going to be okay? Because we need clear guidance on what we can and can't do. And these policies must stay consistent for days on end. If you do not follow this policy in the future, this may result in the removal of your listings and suspensions of your account. Sure, yeah, if I keep breaking the rules, not a problem, but tell me what the rules are. Now, here's the real rub. Here's the real problem that I'm having right now. They say no policy violation has been recorded on your account. You remember seeing this, and a lot of us said, hey, okay, fine, no big deal. No violation. I can continue doing business as usual. That is completely fine. But just because no policy violation has been recorded on your account doesn't mean that substantial changes have been made to your account either. Here's the next paragraph. Not following this policy in the future, now it says in the future, but if you do it one time, that's all it takes, one time. Not following this policy in the future may result in the removal of your listings from the site or from search results. Other actions we may take may include lowering a seller's rating, lowering your rating, the value of your store, charging additional fees, limiting buying and selling privileges, or suspending your account. Now here's the best part of it all. All fees paid or payable for listings that are ended and or hidden from search will not be refunded or otherwise credited to your account. So eBay is clearly stating, not only can you pay to have your items listed, but you can pay to have them listed and they will not show up in search. We do not need to notify you that they are not going to show up in search, and we will continue to charge you every single month, even though we are not displaying the items to the customers. Now, that on its own is enough to get fired up and say, you know what, F eBay, I'm moving all my listings across to Mercari, but it gets even better. So remember Patrick One, we were talking about him a second ago. Patrick One tells me, no changes have been made to your account. Everything's still the same. You don't need to worry, business as usual. Now remember, this isn't just normal call in, pick up the phone, get somebody in India, Bangladesh, or China. Okay. This is concierge. This is American representatives sitting in their house right now, answering the phone and working on this issue that I'm having. I say, okay, thank you so much, Patrick, for your time. I appreciate that. And I go to start listing more items today. I get to a Ziploc storage bag listing that I am working on. And I go to work on it and it tells me I cannot revise this item. And we're talking a dry revise. Right now I'm going through and auditing my listings, fixing pictures, titles, categories, descriptions, item weights, etc. So I'm doing this 600 times this week to correct my listings just to try and increase velocity on the site. And I can't do it. It will not let me do a dry revise. Click revise, done, and it says you cannot revise this listing due to previous price policy gouging issues. And I look at the title on the Ziploc and I say, there's nothing wrong with this title. I'm not using any of the keywords. And I go to list another item and I just put it to the side. I say, okay, not a big deal. It's just one. And I go to revise a Star Smiles dentist. It's a little plush bear with human teeth to teach kids about brushing their teeth effectively. And I go to revise that and I get the exact same thing again. I even try a dry revise without changing the title. I get the exact same warning again. I say, you know what? This is 2 within 30 listings as I'm starting my day on my revisions. I need to call again. So I pick up the phone, I call concierge, and I get Patrick. I've said, Patrick, it's good to talk to you again. He says, I'm not the same Patrick. And I say, okay, Patrick, too, let's see what we can do. Let's figure out what's going on. And I have Patrick look at the listings. He's like, yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong with those words. You shouldn't be having any issues. I'm going to get you transferred over to a account specialist. Now, we've heard this phrase a lot, and I didn't realize that this phrase was a catch-all, and you'll hear why in just one second. He says, I'm going to get you transferred over. I say, great. I wait 2 or 3 minutes, and then on comes the phone, Tom. Okay, the resident saint who's going to save my issues, and I am thrilled. I've got an account specialist on the issue to help me out with what's going on. I say, Tom, you're not going to believe this. I'm having some issues with my titles right now. This is what's going on. What should I do? And he says, well, could you try a different category for your Ziplocs? And I say, well, sure, I can look, but they're not food Ziplocs. They're like space saver bags. They're meant for packing items up and storing them away. And I look through and I say, you know what? This is really the only applicable category for this item. Could you just tell me what issue I'm having with the title? And he says, well, there's actually issues with certain categories in regards to pricing policy. And I say, wait, hold on one second. Okay, I thought it was only the title that was the issue, and I was told that I was just having a glitch before. And he says, well, no, sometimes certain categories can have issues, and, ones like this one have issues. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, we've had issues with a sharpening knife, a steel. We've had issues with a stuffed animal, which was under dental analogs. And now we're having issues with the Ziploc bags, the space saver bags. And I tell him I can't find another category for it. And he says, well, you're pretty much going to have to find another category because you're not going to be able to list it there. And I said, I thought it was only titles. Now you're telling me it's categories as well. But wait, hold on one second. Okay. I asked yesterday, is this something that's affecting everybody? Is this something that everyone has to deal with right now? And I was told, yes, this is a site-wide thing. Everyone's dealing with this issue. And I asked, is this something that I'm having to deal with? So Tom, I just want to be very clear with you, okay? I've asked this question 3 times to 3 different people. Has something been done to my account? Okay, is there some reason why I can't do it? And he says, well, yes. Really, Tom, something has been done to my account. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry. The last 3 people did actually lie to you, and there has been a restriction placed on your account. Lovely, I say. And I said, Tom, I'm not a big fish in eBay, but I have $60,000 worth of inventory listed right now that I would like to sell. And I'd like to be able to continue doing business as usual. And I don't want this price policy, price gouging nonsense to affect my ability to buy and sell. eBay isn't the person who should be making those decisions as far as what I can and can't do with my business. Okay? There's no reason why not. The fair market and the laws should be the ones, as always, to decide whether or not an item should be listed or sold. And I say, what can we do? What can we do to fix this? And he says, well, I can't get somebody on the phone right away, but I can put in an appeal to have this removed from your account. Okay, we can appeal the decision, this policy decision, and see if we can get this lifted from your account. And I say, well, if you can't remove it, then we have to go that direction because I want my account back and I want to be able to sell. And while I have you, Tom, can I get your information down? Can I at least have the reference of, what we're doing and who you are and everything? And he says, sure. And he says, my name's Tom, and just give him my service request number. And I said, okay, Tom, do you mind me asking, could I get your title? He's like, oh, I work with the eBay concierge team. And I'm like, well, I'm aware of that, but could you be a little bit more specific just so I can reference who you are within? He said, I work with the accounts restriction team. So I wasn't transferred across to an account specialist. I was transferred to the accounts restriction team, which means that Patrick too also knew that negative changes had been made to my account, and he didn't want to tell me that either. And this just goes to show you that there's a lot of things happening on your accounts you don't know about. This reminds me of when I used to sell cell phones back in the day. If you've ever called in and if you've ever popped off on the phone and said some heinous things, gotten upset at customer service, done anything like that, when we would pull up your account, we would see all the reasons why customer service didn't want to work with you. If you worked at a different competitor's location, we would see that on our screen. If you demanded credits and discounts and made false claims and got hot over anything, we could see that on our screen. And eBay is making account changes behind the scenes, and they're not telling us of these changes that they're making. I am really hot right now, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. And I have a lot more listings to get done today and work to try and do. I just wanted to share this with you. Your account might be negatively impacted now. If you're having trouble revising your listings and you're getting the price policy warning at the top of your screen, I 100% guarantee you these marks have been put on your account. As far as what we do from here, I frankly don't know. And I don't even know what to tell you. If you have this on your account and you don't have concierge, tough. It's going to probably be on your account until this pandemic is over. And I hate to say it, you're not going to get help from just calling in. You're not going to get help from eBay for Business. You're not going to get help emailing in. You're not going to get help on the eBay community boards. If you don't have concierge and you can't talk to somebody right now, you're probably screwed. So if this is going on with you, let me know below. Tell me in the comments. Maybe if we get enough people together and we get our voice loud enough, we can actually make some change happen. Maybe one of those people who runs e-commerce bites can actually run a relevant story and pick this up, and we can actually get some help with something like this. Thanks, guys, for watching. Let me know what's going on with you down below. Be the best version of you that you can be, and remember, if you don't make that money, someone else will. Have a good day.